listening to Living with ADHD and CPTSD, available on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcast. Everybody, and welcome to another episode of Living with ADHD and CPTSD. Today we've got an ADHD episode, and I was actually just thinking about this as I was walking around not long before I started doing this recording, that I think to some degree I need to seriously reevaluate my thinking when it comes to my own ADHD. And the reason that I'm saying this is because I'm starting to wonder if there was a lot of external factors that was playing into what was actually happening, like making my ADHD symptoms a lot more apparent. And, you know, I always, if you remember, for those who are listening to my episodes, I discussed the possibility of my ADHD being more from trauma, that I suffered from trauma-related issues in my past. And because of that, it created most of, or a good percentage of, my ADHD and the symptoms that I currently have. And being a couple weeks now since the end of my relationship, I have been kind of keeping an eye on my reactions and symptoms and, you know, everything basically, and just trying to sort of understand some of the factors that were involved in making my ADHD, you know, the way it was. And I'm not saying that I have no ADHD. I do. There's too much evidence in my day-to-day life that would go against that sort of thought, or that, you know, guess or assumption, even though I'm really, for the most part, stress-free, and my anxiety levels are way lower than they've been in a long time, and I feel relaxed, and I'm feeling capable of doing whatever I want. I don't have anything holding me back. There's still moments in each day where I have symptoms that come up. Now, keep in mind, I am an inattentive ADHD diagnosis, and so that's to do with, you know, maintaining focus. I get easily distracted and lose my train of thought. Forget where I'm going with a project or the thing I'm working on. Easily, you know, forget about something, right? Like that's a lot of what happens. So I notice that I make a big effort in the mornings when I'm getting ready for work to make sure that I've got everything ready to go. Right? Like I make sure that I've got, like, it starts from the very beginning. I make sure I've got my coffee and my breakfast made. I make sure that I've got all the clothing that I'm going to need for work put out so that I'm not missing anything or, you know, starting to run behind. And I make sure I get all the bathroom tasks done, like brushing my teeth, making sure everything's okay. Uh, you want to look nice and you want to have fresh breath before you go to work because you're going to be in front of people all the time. And, I have always had this habit of, I see the time and I realize that I've got to leave soon. So I will and I've done this still even today. Well, yeah, it was a bit of a different day because I had to go and get a new set of lenses for my glasses done up. So I didn't really have the same sort of start that I normally do. But I've had moments where, I'm going out the door or I'm like getting things to the back door, right? I got to get my bag with my computer and I've got to make sure I've got my gloves and my hat because it's cold out. Got to make sure I have my keys, make sure I've got my phones so that when I go out the door, I'm not halfway out the door going towards the garage and then my brain goes, oh, shoot, I forgot, got to go back, right? So the thing that tends to happen is I get a little absent-minded or I get a little like my ability to, in the moment as I'm prepping or as I'm kind of step by step, I have this habit of kind of forgetting a couple things. I think the big one is I will leave the office area on my way to get ready and I won't grab my work phone, right? Like it's sitting underneath my monitor, it's plugged in, charging overnight, and I walk out, I grab my personal phone, my bag, I put it out in the kitchen area, and I'm getting ready, and my brain kind of just goes, oh, hey, work phone. So I go in and grab the work phone, and I make sure to put that with everything else. So the routine that I've built is going and putting everything that I know I have to take with me when I go out the door at the back entranceway, because that's where I put my shoes on. That's where I should make sure I get my coat on. I've got everything that I need. Sometimes I've forgotten to grab my keys, which I know is silly because you clearly need those in order to go and drive your vehicle. But yes, I have forgotten to grab those. Luckily, it's been a very long time since I've actually left the house and gotten into my vehicle and started before realizing, or then I realized that I have forgotten something important. It is a lot easier these days, probably because I've really made a point of changing some of my habits. I was, before the end of the relationship that I was in, my evening routines were quite different, and I guess I was just kind of the way I was thinking about this not long ago, and it's like there's some kind of motivation. There's like a factor involved in my thought process or in my daily life that is kind of wanting to be more proactive and more responsible for what I'm doing rather than kind of leaving it to the last moment or walking away and going, oh crap, it's 10:30 at night. Oh, got to do some dishes, don't want to leave those till the morning, right? That's what it used to be. So what I've changed, and I did this basically from day one when everything kind of straightened itself out here, where she moved down to the basement. And from that day, every time I would make dinner or I would use dishes or use utensils, like cutting my dog's food and then putting it in the fridge. I would make a habit of cleaning everything immediately and then putting it away before walking off and doing whatever I'm doing. So instead of just putting it in the sink and kind of letting things build up and then having like 10 dishes to clean at the end of the night, there's nothing, because I have breakfast. I have my bowl. I put in, I eat it, and then when I go out to the kitchen, I clean it right away, dry it off, put it up in the shelf, clean the spoon, put it in the utensils, and there's no dishes. So when I get home at the end of the day, there's nothing to do. I don't have to think about like, oh, I got to make dinner in a couple hours. And there's dishes. There were all these different kind of tasks that were in the way that I knew I had to complete. And it was kind of, I wouldn't say it was overwhelming. It was just like where I wanted to say, to hell with it. No, I don't want to deal with this. No, I'm not going to do it. Right? That's what I was thinking a lot of the time. And now it's just get it done with. Take care of it now. And then you don't have to do it. So I get home at 4:30, or I think there's a few times where I was getting home just after 5, where all I'd have to do is bring out Murray. Murray is my dog, in case you're not aware. I bring Murray's food out and put it on the dish and feed him, and he eats, put him outside and bring him in, and then that's it. And then I can relax. Or I do something, if I've got a thought or a plan that I want to do, I can do it. I don't have to think about other stuff, right? There's nothing in my head that has the possibility of causing me to get distracted or to not be able to have a clear mind, because that's what I was noticing is things were always getting in there and causing me to not be able to truly focus on something else, right? Like it was always, oh, there's dishes. I get home and I'd like, look at all the dishes in the sink. And even though I know I was putting them in the dishwasher, still, you couldn't just grab them and put them in the dishwasher. I had to rinse them all off and then put them in and then start the damn thing up and blah, blah, blah. So that was the daily thing. And then there was this, oh, I got to prepare dinner. So in the back of my mind, no matter what I was doing, there was always that thought of prepping dinner. And then, of course, that meant more dishes. And then there was the whole idea of having to put the leftovers away, right? And, of course, I just wanted to relax. I didn't want to have to think about or deal with any of that crap. But after things changed, it was like it had pushed me. It motivated me to take control of my situation, make my life easy, simplify things. And so after doing all this, right, like getting the point of simplifying and not leaving things or not having numerous thoughts in my head, and among those are the stress, the worries, having fears that seem to always be there, getting distracted, forgetting stuff, like things that I had to do, you'd forget, or you'd put something down and walk away, and I'd forget that it's there and come back and go, oh, right, oops, grab it and take it with me. So it was kind of like a repetitive, constant folly of forgetting stuff and not realizing that this has to be taken care of or this has to be finished, right? Like when I was motivated and I was capable of doing all these things, it was easy. I never really get into a situation that I start something and go, oh, I don't really want to do this. So I stop, or you don't really finish it. I don't really have that problem. If I'm motivated to do something, I will get it from 0 to 100. It'll be done. I'll finish it. And then the only thing is with that is there's the whole hyper focus. So I'm really good at completing the job at hand, and I do it really well. But the thing is I have a poor sense of like external, like the extra, right? Like being self-aware, having an awareness of things around you, people around you, situations, the unknown sort of part of this. I was never, and still today, for some reason, I have had some improvement, but I'm still very poor when it comes to being aware of my surroundings and knowing what's going on, because it seems like I'm so focused in on the one thing that I'm doing or thinking about that all that extra, all the other things that are around me, I miss. So I either run into it, I don't see it. I'm not aware, so I could either hurt myself or I hurt somebody else, or I break something, make a mess. It's like I don't have the ability to take my eyes and just, even if it's just for a second, and look at something else as I'm going towards it and coming back. It's like I'm either super focused on the thing I'm doing, and so my brain is constantly on that, or I get distracted by something else and I can't come back. And it's extremely frustrating because, you feel, especially when there's someone else around, it makes you feel really stupid, shameful. You feel bad because in my brain, my thoughts is that person saw me do this, and they might not be laughing out loud, but in their head, they're either laughing at me and they're thinking, oh my God, what a klutz. He's never sees anything in front of him. He's always running into something, or he's always hitting it, or, like banging my arm on the door because I'm not aware of where the door is properly. So there's all these little things that get in the way. And what I've come to understand is that I have to kind of, now I realize I'm going to say focus, but I don't mean focusing as in hyper-focus, do focus on the task. I mean in a more broader scale. I need to focus on one aspect at a time when it comes to my life and working on improving and reducing my symptoms and what they do to me and what they do in my life. Because it's difficult to focus on completing tasks so that you can't forget, and then focus on things like self-awareness and, being aware of my surroundings and improving that all at once. It's a difficult thing to do. I don't know if there's anybody, especially if they have ADHD, who would be able to do two things that are important at the same time. Because I have always had a difficult time with doing it all at one time, right? Like I bring in a cup of coffee into my office, and I bring my cereal, or I bring my breakfast, and I bring a bottle of water, and I leave the office, and more often than not, I would forget at least one, maybe two of them. And as ridiculous as that sounds, that is reality. And not just for me, there's a lot of other people out there who are, experiencing very similar situations, right? Like they put something down and they go, and let's say they go to the washroom and they're cleaning their hands, and they're focusing on drying their hands and making sure that their hair looks nice, and they walk out of the bathroom, and they walk right past that cup, and they go into the kitchen, and they, whatever they do, and then they walk off and sit down. And the entire thought that they put this cup down in a spot that's not supposed to have that cup on, they don't even notice or realize until later on. Or somebody else says, hey, you left this cup here. Oh, oops, sorry, I meant to take that with me. So the way I'm trying to adapt to that is to just make sure when I leave this office that I take a look real quick and just make sure I take everything that is supposed to come out and leave with me and put it in the right place. There is only one place that it goes, and that's at the kitchen sink. And you rinse it out and you clean it, put it away, right? So I just don't want to, I feel like maybe I'm getting a bit off topic here, but I'm going to try and tie all this in here. So my apologies, but the fact that I notice I am more capable of doing daily life activities and chores and completing them, and not having to trace back and go, oh shoot, for the 6th day in a row, I forgot my coffee cup in the office. I meant to bring it out. Or oops, I forgot to brush my teeth because I'm so, focused on getting ready to go out the door that I forget to do this. And so I'm trying to work into my life on a daily basis and build the skills of making sure that all these things that I have to do get done. And not just get done, but they get done properly. Because you could rush through all these things and it doesn't work, right? So you have to plan ahead. You have to think about what you're going to do the next day, and then you have to act on it. Like, I get that it's not an easy thing to do, because it has been difficult for me for a lot of most of my adult life. You have a thought in your head that you're going to do this. Like, I remember, okay, I'm going to take, I've had thoughts like where my laundry is drying, and when it's done, I'm going to go get it, sort it out, hang it up, put it away right away. And my brain either forgets that the laundry's been completed and it's been sitting in the dryer for 40 minutes, or I get distracted by something that I've been doing, and all I do is go down and get the laundry, and then I just kind of let it sit there. And then it sits for days because my brain doesn't think about it. It's like I have to follow through. I have to learn to follow through with the thoughts, with the ideas. And it's not necessarily easy enough. Like, you can write them down. You can put in a timer in your phone telling you, hey, you're going to make sure you fold do your laundry, fold it up, put it away. Make sure you clean your dishes when you're finished eating. All there's numerous different things that you can do during the day. And then all these reminders and all these little cues and things that you see on your wall or on your phone or in the moment where you are that are telling you, take care of this now, and then actually acting on it instead of, you have the thought, but then you never actually do anything about it. I'm sure a lot of you out there have a lot of thoughts where you have ideas and you have actions and plans that you think about, and then the problem is you're sitting in a place, or you're sitting at work, or you're in your car, or you're doing something out in the day that really is the worst timing possible for that thought to occur, because it's not like you can just go and take care of that plan or actually act on it in the moment. So you think about it and you go, and I know I've done it, and I sit there and I go, not bad. Okay, I want to do this, or it sounds like a good idea. But then day catches up, and something is going on, and within moments you forget about it. And I have tried to come back to that thought, and I, for the life of me, can't remember exactly what I've been saying or thinking, and so it's lost. But this is the next step. This is not today's step. This is something that is going to be a future goal of mine. Now, to basically wrap this up, the stress in my past really emphasized and really exaggerated and accelerated my symptoms. I not only had to deal with my symptoms of forgetting, getting easily distracted, not taking care of things. I've said, yeah, I'll do it. Or she tells me to do something, like take care of the garbage and take it outside, or put it out on the side when it's garbage day. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll take care of it. And I don't, because I get distracted easily. So all the symptoms, all the things that my ADHD causes me to do on a regular basis is amplified because of the stress and the anxiety that was there, due to the fears and the triggers that I was experiencing in my relationship. And they were pretty strong at times, and it would completely cause me to just basically crash, right? Like not be able to think about anything that I had to do. It would cause me just to kind of shut down, completely be mentally drained and physically exhausted, mentally and physically exhausted, and just not have the abilities to really take care of anything. And so I had no motivation, and all I would do is just, I'll take care of it tomorrow. I had no desire whatsoever to take care of, to do stuff. All I wanted to do was just hide, basically dissociate, like take care of myself. And that was not a good idea, because you ended up just not taking care of anything. Like, I wouldn't get things done. I'd never get my laundry taken care of. I would forget stuff, and not even for a day have no idea, never remember at all that I had plans to take care of this, or that I had make a promise to do something for her, and never get it done. So there were so many factors involved that were really making things a lot worse. And so what I've been thinking about throughout all this is just how bad, on a scale of 1 to 10 today, if I were to go and do 6 months of my own, being by myself, not having any stress, external stress besides my own stress, like day-to-day activities, paying bills, going to work, taking care of the unexpected stuff, trying to live a life, how severe my ADHD would be on a scale of 1 to 10. It's kind of a question that I'm not 100% sure on the answer, how accurate it would be, but I'm kind of sitting in between 3 and 4. And that's not bad. I'd much rather be a 2 or a 1, of course. I would like to have as little symptoms and issues as possible with ADHD, but you can't exactly get what you ask for. But a 3 to 4 is still pretty decent. Like, that's low mid range, right? Like, I always thought that my ADHD was a 6 or a 7, even maybe higher at some points, because I couldn't really understand what exactly was going on in my life. I didn't know how much trauma there was that was affecting it. I was just dealing constantly every day with a lot of stress and anxiety and fears and triggers. Like I'm going to be discussing the whole CPTSD trauma ordeal in another episode later on. I'll focus on that more, but yeah, like I really do have to reevaluate just how severe and how much my ADHD actually does affect my life, because life hasn't really been all that bad lately. I'm learning how to deal with things that are getting in the way of having a near normal life. And it's just because I've put such an effort and work into trying to learn and trying to change my day-to-day lifestyle, and it's working, and it's going to take some time, because you can't do multiple things at one stage. You have to work them out one at a time in order to make it work and to have any success. So I hope that can motivate anybody out there in my audience, that if you really put effort into it and you really want to if you really want to change things, you can do it. You just have to have a motivational factor involved. It can be done. I'm not saying everybody's going to be able to do it. It's not 100% effective for every single person out there who has ADHD, but I can see it happening. I can do this. And I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that can also do it. If you find the right way to do it for yourself, to make those changes, to insert these adaptations, then you could have a great deal of success as well. And it is something that should be able to push you further and keep you going. And the success that you're going to feel and experience down the road will truly be amazing and even life-changing for you. And there you have it, another episode of Living with ADHD and CPTSD. I hope this was a great episode and helpful for all of you out there listening. If you find that this kind of episode is really informative and helpful for you, then please give me a shout. Let me know what you feel and how you're thinking about this. You can get in touch with me either via email. The email address is livingwithadhdandcptsd@gmail.com. If you want to contact me on Twitter, by all means, my Twitter handle is @ADHD and CPTSD. You can also get a hold of me at Mastodon. That is a relatively new social site, kind of like Twitter. You can also go to my website, www.livingwithadhdandcptsd.ca. If you would like to help me out, whether it's donation or even becoming a member, you can go to my Patreon page. Just look for Living with ADHD and CPTSD. You can go to Ko-fi.com, that's ko-fi.com, and you can donate there any amount you feel is acceptable. It doesn't really matter. And you could also become a subscriber to Apple Podcasts, and it's a small monthly fee that you can pay to get access to episodes like this early, and other episodes that aren't available to the public. All right, everyone, that is this episode. I hope you have a great day, and I shall talk to you later. Bye, everyone.